from the Department of Public Works and Highways. Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary Mark Villar has announced the construction of a pedestrian bridge directly connecting Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 3 with Newport City, which is on track and due to open on the first half of 2017. And he said that once completed, the runway will allow the average person to walk the distance between the airport and Newport City in approximately 3 minutes. It will be an enclosed air-conditioned bridge with PWD-friendly facilities such as moving walkways and elevators. It will have a modern, eye-catching design which may be an iconic landmark in the Pasay City skyline. In business, Coca-Cola Philippines plans to invest $1 billion more in the Philippines. Coca-Cola FEMSA Philippines, the bottler and distributor of Coca-Cola in the country, announced its plan to invest $1 billion more in the Philippines within the next few years. The plan comes on the back of the $1.4 billion that Coca-Cola has already invested in the country between 2010 and 2014. The efforts include adding 2 new bottling lines to its Misamis Oriental plant, the rebuilding of its Tacloban plant, and the purchase of a manufacturing facility in Davao del Sur from San Miguel Corporation, which speaks of a positive outlook in terms of economics in the Philippines. Also, from the Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, Martin Dino. In just 26 days after President Duterte mandated to relocate the beneficiaries to their new homes, we have successfully relocated 827 Yolanda families out of 911 that was raffled to their new homes as of December 3, 2016. OPAV expects more families to be relocated to their new homes before Christmas, as soon as other relocation sites are ready, complete with electrical connection and potable water supply. And also, on a more positive note, Secretary Silvestre Bello presented last night during the cabinet meeting the proposal to acquire Postbank and convert it into an OFW or a workers' bank. Only 3 government banks have been servicing the needs of Filipinos: Land Bank for Agri, DBP for Industry, and Postbank for Savings. And this particular move is an undertaking to show appreciation for the OFWs as our modern-day heroes. Remittances account for 9.8% of gross domestic product and 8.3% of gross national income. And therefore, there's a need now for a more specialized financial institution for OFWs to cater to their needs and aspirations. It's about all that summarizes it. Any questions?
Okay, may follow-up question about the statement. Other issue na tayo. Rose Novinario.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, may statement po si Vencer Crisostomo ng Anak Bayan. Leftist group po ito ng mga kabataan.
Okay.
Na ang sabi po nila, ang resignation daw po ni Vice President Leni Robredo sa gabinete ay hudyat ng Liberal Party Restoration Plan. Na ang ibig sabihin daw po ay inilalayo daw po ng Liberal Party yung sitwasyon sa pagpapanagot po ng Duterte administration sa mga katiwalian ng nakaraang administrasyon. So parang dinadivert daw po ng LP yung issue tungkol po dun sa resignation ni VP Leni sa gabinete at dun po sa pagtutol sa Marcos Burial. Ano po yung reaction ng palasyo rito?
Um, regarding the intentions of diverting attention, we cannot comment on that. We cannot comment on that. However, the resignation of let me quote the president regarding the resignation. He said, "It is with a heavy heart that I accept the resignation of Vice President Leni Robredo." This was his comment. So basically, it's not our part to be commenting on the intentions of the Liberal Party.
At may panawagan pa po yung anak bayan na seryosohin daw po ng Duterte administration yung pagpupursigi po ng pagsasampa ng kaso laban po sa mga nakaraang opisyal ng gobyerno tungkol po sa corruption. Like, tungkol po daw dun sa Mamasapano incident at sa paggasta raw po, pagwawaldas daw po di umano ng calamity funds at saka agricultural funds.
Everything has to follow a particular process, but at this stage also we need to attend to urgent and important matters at hand. But definitely these things are being within the scope of the intention to fight corruption and to make sure that things are made right.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Pia Rappler.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, did the President express openness last night to work with VP Robredo in any other way in the future outside cabinet meetings, maybe to support her own programs or to entrust her with other roles?
What he did say was that he continues to maintain personal respect for Miss Leni. And however, regarding work-related programs, Miss Leni is free to work as she pursues her job and her responsibilities as a vice president.
Ted Tubera?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes.
Sir, how does the palace and perhaps President Duterte himself assess the Vice President's performance as Housing Secretary in the last 6 months?
Well, she functioned as best as she could, and the response of the administration has been to supply whatever support that they could, given the circumstances. Again and again, the president says that he is a midterm president, and by necessity, his funds are limited according to the budget that was already set by the last administration. However, basing on the relationships that could be seen and observed during the cabinet meetings, the relationship between the president and the vice president was warm. And so there's absolutely no personal matter that it doesn't have anything to do with any personal clashes.
But sir, based on the assessment of the president, was she able to function well? Was she able to deliver her supposed mandate as the head of HUD-C?
Well, you have to give it to, well, fair is fair. This is only within the first 6 months, no? So whatever result that she did had to be limited to the capacity that was given to her within the first 6 months.
Sir, still on the vice president, whenever the president makes decisions, he always says that he asks the concession of the cabinet.
He does.
And what about here in this case of Vice President Robredo? Did he ask the comments perhaps of other cabinet members?
I suppose he did, but it was not during. But remember that it is his prerogative to hire or fire or release cabinet secretaries, cabinet members. Remember that it is his personal choice, and the relationship between cabinet members and the president is based on relationship and based on trust. And should the president come to the point where he feels he cannot fully work with or is uncomfortable with a particular cabinet secretary, then it is his prerogative to release such a member.
Sir, last from my part, in prohibiting the vice president from attending that meeting, which eventually led to her resignation,
Yes.
is there any gains or disadvantage on the part of the president and perhaps of the whole administration?
From his perspective, of course, he's able to work more comfortably.
Thank you, Ted. Cedric, GMA 7. Pia, microphone please. Thank you.
Sir, linawin lang po namin, sir. How was it supposed to work? Kasi I understand VP Leni was not fired. Diba, but she was just given the order not to attend the
Right.
cabinet meetings anymore.
Right.
But it was her prerogative to resign, sir. How was that supposed to work? How was she supposed to function as HUD-C chief kung hindi siya makaka-attend, kung hindi siya pinapa-attend ng cab meeting, sir?
Well, she could have, she could actually function, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I understand it. I may be wrong about it, but with or without her membership in the attending the cabinet meetings, she could have. But I don't know the implication. I cannot speak for that. But it may. But then her resignation actually sealed her quote-unquote regarding HUD-C. So she took the move and she resigned, and that was the end of the HUD-C relationship.
Pero sir, wouldn't you say that it was somewhat of a calculated move on the part of the administration? Kasi paano ka nga naman magka-function kung hindi ka naman uma-attend? Para was it expected that it would lead eventually to her resignation, sir?
Which one?
Yung deceased order, sir.
No, I think it began specifically with the fact that the president no longer felt comfortable working with the vice president.
Okay. Right. Sir, can you please elaborate more on the phrase, what's that, irreconcilable differences, sir? Can you cite any specific incident or occasion or perhaps an assignment?
Well, I will not refer to that. I can give some form of an assessment, my assessment, that the president, I suppose, felt uncomfortable with her engagement in certain political actions. Okay?
Thank you. Laila Salaveria.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, you mentioned that the relationship between the VP and the Vice President during cabinet meetings had been warm.
Yes.
Why did the President not talk to the VP before asking her to desist from attending the cabinet meetings?
I do not know the background story. So I cannot say why not, or why not. But the fact is, during those meetings, as far as we could see, the relationship was warm in terms of interpersonal relationship. However, if there were any particular actions, I believe, and I cannot confirm this, I believe that there were certain efforts to communicate to her how the president would have wanted her to act. But that is my conjecture. That's my conjecture.
But sir, would you know for a fact if before the text of Cabinet Secretary Avasco, there was a specific message to her to maybe tone down her statements or her rhetoric?
That I cannot say, but I am assuming that they had certain conversations.
They meaning the President and the VP?
Not necessarily the President, but it may have been, let's say, CabSec Vasco trying to communicate with her.
Sir, on the on-Ched Chair Liquanan,
Yes.
Sir, what's the basis for the irreconcilable differences between her and the President?
Let me just go back. No, I think based on August 22, a letter, a memorandum, a circular was given. It was asking for the courtesy resignations of presidential appointees. Okay. In view of the president, let me just read it. Number one. In view of the president's desire to rid the bureaucracy of corruption and to give him a free hand in achieving this objective, all presidential appointees are hereby directed to tender their unqualified courtesy, operative word, resignations within 7 calendar days from date hereof. Except the following, of course, it says newly appointed, so forth. There were certain details. But when I checked with the office of the executive secretary, apparently there was no letter submitted from the commissioner.
Her contention, sir, is she has a fixed term, so she's not covered by any such directive to tender a courtesy resignation.
There was a request for a courtesy resignation.
Sir, what does this mean now for the CHED? Will the administration continue to support its projects and policies if the chair is being asked not to attend the cabinet meetings?
The process continues. The commission will be supported.
Thank you.
Raymond Tinasa, Bombo Radio, to be followed by Dexter Ganibe.
Hi, sir. Good noon. Sir, do you expect now that VP Robredo will be more critical in terms of the extrajudicial killings, Marcos burial, and other issues which she previously, although did not condone, but he also made some negative comments about it?
And the question is, do I expect her to be more vocal?
Yeah, critical.
To be more critical? That is her prerogative.
Sir, also, do we expect now na parang maging mas mabilis yung trabaho sa HADC, yung koordinasyon now na hindi na galing sa ibang partido at mismong kalyado, tao at yung talagang, kumbaga, mas mapagkatiwalaan na ng Pangulo, yung nandun sa HADC?
Here's what I can say. First, it's not hindi dahil sa kabilang partido, but like you said, somebody that the president can trust and work with more ably. So, I suppose I'm not saying that automatically it will become faster, but definitely it will proceed. Definitely it will proceed.
Sir, but also last, your reaction yung parang ipinapahayag ng Liberal Party and even VP Robredo na parang more on politika yung asked na mag-desist sa attending sa cabinet meeting and eventually her resignation na parang may kinalaman yung Bongbong Marcos and other political issues.
Well, like I said, in the relationship between the president and the cabinet member is really based on mutual trust, and if mutual trust and comfort, levels of comfort. And if the president feels, for whatever reason that he has, that he can no longer comfortably work with a particular secretary, then it will have to be his own choice. And we cannot surmise and say it's because of politics, because of this. It's his choice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, last two questions on Leni Robredo, Dexter Ganibe, to be followed by Chana.
Hi, Yusek. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Sir, follow up lang dun sa courtesy resignation.
Yes, ma'am.
Yung memorandum circular.
Opo.
Ano pa ba ito ngayon? Effective pa ba ito ngayon? Or may panibagong panawagan ng palasyo para doon sa mga presidential appointees to adhere with the MC?
It was not revoked. It was not revoked. But I think it was supposed to have been acted on then, within 7 days after it was submitted. So, but the circular itself, as far as I know, has not been revoked.
Chana? Okay. Sorry, Dexter. Magkatanong ka pa. Follow up.
Sir, how about yung ibang cabinet members who were openly criticizing the president? Were they told also to desist or to tone down their criticisms dun sa mga policies ng Pangulo?
In fact, no. In fact, the president recognizes that, how do you put it? That certain members, cabinet members, because of their because of their personal conviction and ideological beliefs, were actually voicing. He allowed them that. He said, for example, this is I like the term that he used. He said, "This is the song of the left." In other words, it's expected of them. However, it's not a double standard. I heard that. Walls of ears. But basically, it was not a political action against. It was simply an expression of their ideological conviction.
Okay. Last question tayo on Len. Other issue na tayo? Or Evelyn Quiroz?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, yung August 22 memorandum nyo, ilan ho yung mga presidential appointees na nag-file ng courtesy resignation? At saka, may pati po ba yung mga constitutional offices like the Ombudsman, COA, CSC, nag-file din ho ba sila?
I don't have the numbers the specific numbers that you're asking for, but we can find out. You're asking for
Yung numbers,
The
kasi
numbers?
po, sabi niyo po, ilan yung all presidential appointees. Ilan kasi po, na-mention niyo na presidential appointees si Chairman Licuanan kahit
Opo.
may fixed term.
Opo.
Ilan ho yung...
So we'll find out, okay? We'll try
Thank
to
you,
get
sir.
it back to you. Mr. Ting of the PCO will give you the answer.
Including the constitutional offices, sir, para
Including the
malaman po
constitutional
natin.
office,
Yes,
yes.
sir. Sir, another question. Dun sa na-mention yung 5 billion from PAGCOR.
Opo.
Sabi niyo, sa inyo na ito, inabot po kay Secretary Taguiwalo.
Hindi po, it was an intention. It was an intention which they can source. Actually,
so
they can source. Actually, it's actually, as far as I could understand, as far as it was explained, it was a dedicated fund for medicine, for people who cannot afford medicine. It's a dedicated fund.
So nasa Presidential Social Fund pa rin po yung...
Hindi po. Well, it's assigned to. Kumbaga, it's dedicated to and assigned to. I don't know how they'll do it, but the President mentioned DSWD and DOH.
Thank you, sir.
Opo.
Vance Fernandez.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir. Sir, what are the political actions that the Vice President engaged in that made the President uncomfortable?
I cannot speculate on that. He did not mention it. Okay.
So, what do you mean by irreconcilable differences as the cause of resignation? Does this mean that the President does not longer have confidence and he does not enjoy the confidence of the Vice President being the appointee?
Apparently. Thank you.
Short answer.
Sir, Chris Jose.
Sir, may sinasabi po sina Secretary Yasay and Lorenzana na malaking kawalan sa gabinete si Vice President Robredo.
Let me see. He did say that of course we would like to have her there, but on the other hand, if the Vice President is supposed to be the alter ego of the President, then their messaging should be congruent. Okay, so... Yeah.
So, sir, sorry, sir, pero ibig niyo po bang sabihin na kapag nag-oppose ang isang official, might be on the way out na siya?
I doubt that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Cedric.
Sec, sorry, pahabol lang po, sir. Sir, just to be categorical about it, sir, may kinalaman po ba sa performance ni VP Leni as HALSI Chief yung desist order, or does the President find the VP Leni's output satisfactory, sir?
It was not like the reason given was irreconcilable differences and not inefficiency. So based on that, it's irreconcilable differences. It's a question of opinion or political stance or political action. So it's not about inefficiency. So disengage yourselves from that.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Celerina.
Sir, yung irreconcilable differences, so could we say that because she's from the Yellow, from the Liberal Party?
No, it's hardly that.
Sir,
it is a question of the political actions that she takes, which may be relative to, not directly the reason for.
so same reason din ba with Chair Licuanan kasi she was appointed by the former president?
Hindi rin po. It's irreconcilable differences and not because of political affiliation.
Sir, so since Chair did not submit her courtesy resignation, so apparently parang magiging patigasan na lang ba between Malacanang and Chair? And what will happen if ever, will there be any effect on the performance of Ched since she could no longer attend the cabinet meeting and apparently she's on her own?
Well, let's see how it unfolds. Okay, thank you.
Dexter.
Pero hindi, sir, maapektuhan.
Ang alin?
Yung function, if ever.
It all depends on how she performs. Thank you.
Dexter.
Sir, taking from the opening statement,
Yes.
in 26 days, 827 Yolanda victims transferred to their houses through the efforts of the presidential advisor for Visayas.
Yes.
How would you compare this to the performance of the HADSI chair, which is dapat siya ang gumagawa nung mga pabahay program?
I cannot answer for that. The matter was the Yolanda corridor was under the special presidential assistant for the Visayas. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Pero bago siya binigay, sir, 'di ba, hindi siya sa ano. Yung nung pagbisita na lang ni Pangulo, ibinigay sa presidential advisor sa Visayas yung pag-asikaso sa pabahay.
So the question is?
Which is housing, is this a housing project under the
Yes.
HUD?
Well, as far as the particular matter was concerned, I think it was addressed to the it was slotted under the office of the presidential assistant for the Visayas. Thank you.
Sorry, MPC, last 3 questions. 2 questions on Robredo and Nikwanan, other issue on kay Ted Tuvera. Henry?
Secretary, ano-ano ho ang mga dapat gawin at hindi gawin at mga dapat tandaan ng mga cabinet appointees, mga cabinet officials, ASEC, USEC, Director, para manatiling buo ang tiwala ng Pangulo at hindi sila mabigyan ng text or messages na huwag nang umattend ng cabinet meetings?
You know, how does the president has said again and again, he allows for dissent. He understands that. He allows for dissent. But in terms of certain actions, it's derived. Decisions are made consensually, by consensus. And what is consensus? Basically, we may disagree, but we have the same action. So let's go along those lines. You can express your how do you call it, for example, yesterday, last night, when they were talking about the climate change, there were many positions, and a number of positions about how to handle it. But at the end of the day, there was an agreement about how to proceed. So it's essential, I suppose, that when we agree in here, our position should be clear, that we also make the same statements outside. Not that we should also live by that. We have already decided on certain things, then outside we also express the same opinions.
Thank you, Henry.
A certain consistency, I suppose. Thank you.
Sorry about
Yes.
that. Ace Romero, sa microphone.
Yusek, just clarification. Sabi ni Vice President Leni, she sees a Marcos factor dun sa order for her to desist from attending cabinet meetings, and then she said she had this feeling ng cabinet members prefer to be with Bongbong Marcos. How true is this?
I cannot, I'm not privy to her emotions, so I cannot tell you whether, I cannot tell you about that. But based on results and based on what we objectively see, the Marcos quote unquote, if there was any, was not at all discussed and never surfaced during those meetings. And about her feeling about being, how do you call it, not being wanted, I suppose that's her subjective feeling. But I think when you're a cabinet member, you have to be more objective about certain things.
Final question for
Yes.
sa akin po. Yung kay Chair Likwanan, you mentioned about an August memorandum.
Yes.
But then she's been attending cabinet meetings after that. Hindi napansin ni Presidente na bakit nandito pa to, August ko pa to, pinagre-resign.
Which I suppose implies that the president is somehow a gentleman.
Ted Tuvera. Thank you, Ace.
Thank you very much.
Sir, last question is Ted Tuvera. Last question, Ted Tuvera.
Just one last. Yeah.
Sir, just a clarification sa statement ni Presidente kagabi na sabi niya, he does not need to explain his orders to the police. Sir, does it mean that he does not want his policies or directives to the police questioned?
You have to understand that this was in the midst of an operation, and you cannot make public your tactical moves. So common sense tells you that you cannot tell everybody and make public your moves. So I think it's just a bit of common sense.
Sir, last from my part. Sir, sino po yung bagong AFP chief, if ever may...
Hindi ko po alam. I will find out.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Or Celerina, last,
You want us?
okay, last question daw.
Sir, regarding the president's statement last night dun sa leftist group na yung release of 130 political detainees, according to Secretary Bello, parang apparently anchored siya dun sa bilateral ceasefire. So would it be a precondition now before releasing those political detainees?
I don't know if you want to call it precondition because it sounds very harsh, no? Very demanding, legalistic. But basically, I think what he wants is a reasonable agreement that signed that both will agree, both sides, GPH and the CNN, that's Communist Party, NDF, okay. Will agree to mutually agree to a ceasefire. So basically, what he wants is a mutual. It's a bilateral agreement.
Sir, kasi sabi niya marami ng concessions na ginawa ang government. So nakukulangan ba kayo sa response naman ng NDF ng leftist?
It's a matter of talking it over, and we hope that everything will be resolved by December. But no, by Christmas.
Okay, thank you, Celerina.
This stage, Christmas. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Last. Okay?
Sir.
Okay.
Sir, one na lang.
Thank you, Miss.
Sir, I'm here. Sir, do you think demoralization has set among the rank and file of PNP because of the reinstatement of Superintendent Marvin Marcos, the regional head of the CIDJ?
No, I think they fully understand the situation, and I think there's, I think that's reading too much. I think they pretty much up. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay, thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Back to our main studio sa Radyo ng Bayan at PTV4.